and Tamil New Year, renew all your connections. Let 2023 be a year full of happiness, connections and prosperity. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
Sri Lanka ready to welcome Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Priority given to religious observances. Sri Lanka will engage with creditors on the principles of comparable treatment, says President. Sri Lanka requires an expeditious debt resolution, says IMF Deputy Chief. China says it will play a positive role to ease Sri Lanka's debt burden.
The Sinhala and Tamil New Year will dawn in just a few hours from now, and Sri Lankans are all geared up to welcome new beginnings despite the obstacles and challenges. The festival is celebrated when the sun moves from Pisces to Aries, marking the end of the harvesting season.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that despite differences in political affiliation, ethnicity and religion, a fresh beginning is imperative to create a brighter future for us and our nation in this new year. In his message for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, the President said he is gratified that the commencement of this year has presented a salubrious environment for all, and therefore everyone should strive to be more affluent and prosperous than today. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena in his New Year message requested for all to start the new year enriched with new concepts to ensure that neither we nor the future generation encounter similar hardships. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in his message for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year wished for the best for Sri Lankan citizens to end the dark era and be strengthened to achieve a prosperous and brighter future.
The Sinhala and Tamil New Year will dawn at 2:59 p.m. on Friday the 14th of April. The auspicious time to prepare meals is at 3:39 p.m. on Friday. Astrologers say that it is wise to light the hearth clad in light mixed coloured clothes while facing the direction south, and to prepare milk rice mixed with curd as well as sweetmeats containing undu flour. Commencing work, transactions and partaking in meals is fixed for April 14th at 5:05 p.m. and should be done clad in light golden coloured clothes and facing the direction east. The time for anointing oil is fixed for April 16th at 9:41 a.m. and should be done clad in red and yellow while facing south. Leaving for work is fixed for the 17th of April at 6:28 a.m. and should be done clad in white coloured clothes while facing south.
Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that Sri Lanka will engage with creditors on the principles of comparable treatment. He was speaking at the launch of the debt restructuring negotiation process on Sri Lanka by India, Japan and France.
Japan, India and France held a press briefing on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank spring meetings to announce the launch, and three creditor countries have been closely working towards a coordinated debt restructuring plan for Sri Lanka.
Your Excellencies and distinguished colleagues, let me thank the Government of Japan for organizing this crucial meeting together with the governments of India and France. Today's event marks the beginning of a coordinated effort of official bilateral creditor nations to make swift progress in resolving Sri Lanka's debt distress. We in Sri Lanka have made a series of critical policy adjustments in accordance with the extended arrangement under the EFF. I am also submitting the extended arrangement to Parliament for its approval. Thereafter, the government will bring legislation incorporating the main features of this arrangement. However, as you are aware, domestic policy efforts in this context is insufficient to resolve the deep imbalances in our economy. We thank the authorities of Paris Club as well as non-Paris Club nations for offering timely financing assurances and the required consent that enable the IMF to approve Sri Lanka's request for a fund-supported comprehensive economic adjustment program. We also thank private creditors for supporting these efforts. My government remains committed to continue to engage with all creditor nations and other stakeholders in a transparent manner based on the principle of comparable treatment. I would like to reiterate this commitment at today's meeting. Let me once again place on record my deep appreciation of your efforts in assisting Sri Lanka. I hope that our other bilateral and multilateral partners, as well as commercial creditors, will also join with you in providing assistance to Sri Lanka to successfully complete the debt restructuring process at the earliest. At this critical juncture of our economy, we rely on your swift, continued and unwavering support to re-emerge from this crisis and establish a solid foundation enabling us to uplift the socio-economic well-being of our population and regain our national pride.
I want to commend the governments of Sri Lanka for its resolve in implementing the policy measures required to restore macroeconomic stability. Now, creditors should keep the momentum and start the restructuring process in a coordinated manner to ensure transparency and comparability of treatment based on their financing assurances and IMF parameters. The Sri Lankan government's public commitment in favor of transparency, information sharing and comparability of treatment lay a strong foundation for the debt treatment ahead. This creditor committee is open to other creditors who are invited to join. In any case, we will maintain a coordination with them in order to make sure that we have a comparable treatment and the appropriate treatment.
Kenji Okamura, the Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, said an expeditious debt resolution is fast needed for Sri Lanka to emerge as quickly as possible from the economic crisis.
It is a great pleasure to be here at this important event. The launch of these negotiations is a good sign for efforts to restore debt sustainability. Sri Lanka remains in a deep debt crisis. An expeditious debt resolution is fast needed for Sri Lanka to emerge as quickly as possible from its crisis. Creditor support is indispensable for restoring debt sustainability. Debt sustainability a key prerequisite for continued IMF financing. It is very encouraging to see official creditors organizing themselves around a coordinated platform. Very importantly, this approach helps ensure comparability of treatment among creditors. We hope all official bilateral creditors can participate and the negotiations can progress swiftly with a view to completing them by the first program review. The fund supports the positive momentum emerging from today's announcement and will continue to support the debt restructuring process. Thank you very much.
Japan, this year's chair of the group of 7 industrialized countries, has taken the lead with India and France in preparing a common framework to help Sri Lanka emerge from the crisis. Japanese Finance Minister Sunichi Suzuki, speaking at an event to announce the launch, said it is quote-unquote a historic accomplishment. Suzuki said it is important that not just the Paris Club of wealthy creditor countries, but also emerging creditors such as China come together to discuss the restructuring. He stressed that the new platform is open to all creditors. Indian Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs Nirmala Sitharaman expressed India's commitment to support Sri Lanka in dealing with its current economic crisis. She emphasized that a collaboration among creditors is important to ensure transparency and equality in treatment of all creditors in the debt restructuring discussions. The International Monetary Fund said that it would not get involved in Sri Lanka's debt relief negotiations.
So, debt relief is expected to contribute about 17 billion to close the BOP financing gap in 2023 to 2027, which is the overall gap is about 24 billion. So the remainder of this gap is covered by financing from the IFIs and so on. So the decision on how the restructuring happens in terms of providing debt relief, that's something which varies. It has been negotiated between Sri Lanka and its creditors. Now, it could take the form of, principal haircuts, extension of maturity, and interest reduction. So what form it takes has to be negotiated between Sri Lanka and its creditors, and we don't get involved in that. Sri Lanka is expected to outline a strategy or a blueprint to engage with creditors later this month, and that will provide a basis for engaging with the creditors on the restructuring. You are seeing countries which have had problems we've had because, as I said, you've had a series of shocks which has affected all countries around the world, including Asia, and many of them have faced pressures on the external accounts and so on, and some of them have come to the IMF for assistance. And you mentioned the three countries, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. The reason why countries come to the IMF for a program is, one, is it makes the adjustment that much less disruptive. If you wait for too long, then the adjustment is that much more intense. So one would hope that when countries face pressures, they do approach the fund for financing so that the adjustment is less disruptive, is less abrupt, and so on.
Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said that China will continue to support Chinese financial institutions in actively working out the debt treatment. He said China will work with relevant countries and international financial institutions to jointly play a positive role in helping Sri Lanka navigate the situation, ease its debt burden, and achieve sustainable development. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said China calls on commercial and multilateral creditors to take part in Sri Lanka's debt restructuring based on fair burden sharing.
Now in some news overseas, a 21-year-old US Air Force National Guardsman has been arrested over a leak of classified military intelligence that has rattled the US and its allies.
Jack Teixeira, who reportedly shared the files in an online gaming chat room, faces charges under the Espionage Act. Aerial footage showed officers making an arrest at Mr. Teixeira's family home in Dighton, Massachusetts. The documents he leaked revealed intelligence about the war in Ukraine and the US spying on allies. Footage of the arrest in the town of 8,000 people about an hour south of Boston shows a young man believed to be Teixeira walking backwards with his hands raised to armed FBI officers. He was handcuffed and led to a vehicle. Roads in the area were blocked by police officers during the arrest.
The German government has approved Poland's request to transfer 5 Soviet-designed MiG-29 fighter jets to help Ukraine defend against the Russian invasion.
Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said in a statement on Thursday, "I welcome the fact that we in the federal government have reached this decision together. Poland needs Germany's consent to send in remaining jets to a third country." Pistorius said the request from Poland had arrived on Thursday, adding that the same-day approval showed that you can rely on Germany. Germany inherited 24 MiG-29 jets from the German Democratic Republic, or GRD, also widely known as East Germany, during reunification in 1990. At the time, the aircrafts were seen as amongst the most advanced fighter jets in the world.
And that's it from the news for now, but do join us again at 9 tonight right here on TV1 for Primetime News. Until then, do have yourself an amazing Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Thank you for watching.